Hey Griffin, it's Sunday. So here I am to make my video for you, which I'm underprepared for. Thanks for your video last week. I really did appreciate the thoughtfulness and time that you put into that. And I really do take to heart, and I think that you're definitely right about you do have to put on your own oxygen mask first, and that like it's okay to try to get myself to a better mental health place, so I can function. Because, yeah, if you're not there, like when you're drowning, you can't save anybody else, and in a lot of ways, it's kind of how I feel, just kind of drowning, and not even like oh god, I'm dying, drowning, more like that. Oh wow, I'm in the water right now, and I haven't gotten oxygen in a while. I'm like, I'm not like my capacity, but like I'm sure close. So yeah, and I recognize I'm not doing great, but I'm just tired. Um, Also, thanks for talking more about your mental health, and you pointed out that like you don't really talk about yourself at all, like you said, and you don't talk about your mental health and depression much. And like you said, it's a big part of who you are. And I think it's interesting because I think you are a more quiet person. I'd say, when it's just the two of us, you're very talkative and very open. But like in general, you're not the most talkative person, and I think there's a part of me that, even though like I like to think that I know you really well, like when I see you in situations like that, part of me thinks, there's sometimes some anxiety there, and part of me thinks that it's because you're such a good listener and that you care. But I'm sure there is that aspect of like, why do I talk about myself? Like, what is there to say? Like, and I get, I think to an extent, I get that. Like, sometimes just like, who am I? Why is there anything to talk about? Like, that isn't a thing that we need to be focusing on. Like, let's move on. What else is going on in the world? Like, um, granted, I think a very different person who I like to talk about myself. It's a big old ego thing, and I'm also very introspective, and I focus a lot on myself. And also, a reason why I think other people are so fascinating, because I spend so much time thinking about myself and what I'm freaking out about, and when I take the time to listen to others, it's like, wow, there's so many interesting things and ideas going on. Wow, didn't think of that. So because I don't listen to others enough, when I do, it's a great thing. I'm just rambling. Um, but I also wanted to try to, sorry, we're in a closet right now. Long story. No time for that now. I wanted to try to like add something, positive, because I haven't been able to be very positive in these videos recently. Um, so I want to share a story for you. Hold on. So today I went to get my hair cut. First time I did that in like maybe a year or two, because I just cut my own hair because I'm cheap. I'm so cheap. So I went to the hairdresser, and I waited for like an hour. It was really upsetting. I was so mad. It was a long, it was a long wait. So I get there, and so she starts off cutting my hair, and I'm like, "How long have you been cutting hair?" And she tells me that she's been doing it for about 15 years, 12 years at one place, and then the rest at the place she's at now. And then she talked about my job, and then she asked about family, and she's like, "Hey, so tell me about your family." I'm like, "Well, I've got mom, dad, and I have a sister." And she's like, "Oh, that's cool. What's your sister do for work?" And I'm like, "I have no idea." We didn't go into it any further, but the reason is because I haven't talked to my sister in like 5 or 6 years. I don't know, because as you know, I don't know what my sister does or where she is. Uh, she won't call me. It's a funny story. Go on. Moving on. So then I'm like, "Oh, yeah," and I'm like, "Yeah, my family lives on the West Coast, though." Um, and she's like, and she asked the question that everyone wants to ask. She's like, "What's your nationality?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm American, born in the U.S., but my mom's family's from Canada, so I'm also Canadian." And then I look over at her, I can see her in the mirror, and I'm like, "But I think what you want to know is, I'm black, by the way. I think that's what you're really looking after." And she's like, "Yes, I guess that is the question I was asking." Maine. Maine. Uh, And so then she's like, so your dad's black? And I'm like, yeah, he is. And I sit there and I'm like, well, I didn't say that, but it's true. And she's like, oh God, I guess that was an assumption on my part. And I'm like, yeah, it was, but you were right, so whatever. She's like, yeah, black people can be Canadian too. And I didn't realize that the reason she assumed I said my mom was from Canada and that I was black. So like, oh, my dad must be black because there are black people in Canada. Which was just hilarious. Also, like, super funny of like, oh, not black people in Canada because we're in Maine where there are no black people. There are me and a few others. There's not very many. It's crazy. Um, so just having a raucous laugh about this all, and then we're just going down this route. And we're not going to stop. She's like, so do you speak French? And I'm like, no, I don't. Oh, I don't speak French. She's like, oh, but you can understand what your mom's saying. And I'm like, we're in Maine, near Quebec, where there are many French Canadians. And so, yeah. I'm like, no, my mom speaks English, you know, like the majority of people in Canada. She got on the shuttle bus and she wasn't willing to leave. No, nope, gets worse. So, she starts telling me about her two children who were Vietnamese, and she brings up her boyfriend, who I don't remember where he's from, but she brings up her boyfriend. She's like, he's a great guy, and he actually speaks a lot of English. I'm like, oh wow, what does he speak? She's like, he speaks Portuguese and English, obviously, and then Japanese as well. And he actually understands some Spanish, can't speak it, but understands it very well. And African. I just bit my tongue. I didn't know Africa had a continental language. We did it. We're unified. Go Africa. So yeah, that's what living in Maine's like. Real fun times. Genuinely funny story. Enjoyed my day. Things you just get used to. Um, yeah, I thought it was funny. Um, Sorry, this is really long. Yeah, just wanted to say all of those things, and I love you, and I miss you, and I really do appreciate you opening up and talking about your mental health and depression, because, like you said, you don't really like to talk about yourself, and or talk about mental health, and I'm sorry that you're going through as hard of a time that you are. I can definitely empathize, and I think a lot of us, as in our close friends are like I know Rachel is not doing very well, and even though she's doing much better in school than she was over the summer, I think she is really really struggling. I think her mental health is getting its ass kicked. As you know, I'm not doing well. I think you've definitely got some room for improvement. Sophia, I don't know if you talked to Sophia recently. I should call her. She's not doing very well at all. I think socially or uh, professionally. Liz, I think is doing okay. Ish, like as okay as you can is like when the majority of your friends all move away, and your job is like meh. So yeah, no one's doing well. I actually don't know how Josie's doing. Josie, if you're watching this, how you doing? I hope well. Griffin, how's Josie doing? I hope well. Um, but yeah, I think we're all struggling a little bit, and I think part of that is that's just being away and having to start making those connections, and it's hard. And I think though we all kind of left at the same time, like after, but it's the same time as in within 5 months of each other, but at different stages post college. But it's hard. I think we're all struggling in our own ways. It's funny because I, when I graduated, I, had the summer trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life, and um, that was really hard on me. And then I got the job at PSU and I was just elated. And I moved to Portland and I started work and it was great. And I just had way too much free time and I didn't make connections. I didn't get I didn't make a lot of friends at work right away. And then being in res life and like working at the university, the majority of the people I was around, I couldn't have social relationship with because of my job title and responsibilities. So like there were just a lot. It just felt very isolated and alienated from the people around me. And I tried to avoid at first really like using you and everyone else from Pacific as a crutch because I felt like I wasn't going to ever expand my friend group if I didn't have to. Like I would just lean on you guys, and so I fought really hard to like not do that and try to make those other connections and try to kind of distance myself from all of you because I felt like I was not gonna grow. And after about 6 months of that, I said, I've got great friends who are 45 minutes away, and I'm being stupid right now to really just take advantage of that. And I'm glad that I did because I got a lot closer to you and everybody else, and I really enjoyed the last 3 years living in Portland. So I'm glad that I didn't do that. Not relevant in any way because it's not like any of us have each other to drive 45 minutes to, but I'm gonna try to do a better job of reaching out and connecting to people. And oh my god, I'm gonna keep going. So, I realized recently, so I know that I'm having a hard time reaching out to people and just starting conversations, continuing conversations, like following up and trying to, make an actual friendship with people. And so I have, several guy friends like you and CJ and, Joe. But I don't make a lot of guy friends. I get along usually better with women than I do with guys, but that's just a thing. Um, just do. But I think recently I've noticed that like I think about like going up to someone and talking to them, and like my first thought sometimes is like, oh, maybe you don't have anything interesting to say, or like, that seems like a lot of work, or I'll get a little anxious. But there's the other part of me that's like, hey, if you're about to go talk to a woman, are you coming off like a predator? Like, are you coming off like you're trying to hit on them or take advantage of them or just make them feel uncomfortable or unsafe in any way? And even though I do not believe that's who I am or what I'm trying to do at all, and it's not, there's still potentially that perception, and I think that perception freaks me out. So I really take myself out and err on the side of like I don't ever want to make anyone feel uncomfortable, and so it kind of just feeds into where I'm at mentally. But that's one more thing that just gets in my own way. But I, still don't ever want to make anyone uncomfortable, and that's one of those things of like I don't want to put my needs before anyone else's. Um, but I'm still going to try in the next 7 days to reach out. I'm going to try to talk to someone new and just have a real conversation with them. And I will try to reach out to someone who I already know and try to make a stronger connection. That's two things by next Sunday. That sounds so stressful. I love you so much. Have the best day. Thor Ragnarok.